hard-hitting questions coming out of yesterday. You know, I think one of them was whether or not the horns down is going to be 15-yard penalty in the SEC in the future.
That it was very important to finish and to collect the trophy and to win 10 games and win a game on New Year's Day and all those things. And believe me, we had a great belief in our locker room. We didn't have to do anything special, just be us. I was so proud of this team. We had so much fun, it ought to be illegal.
I said in my press conference back in December that I didn't feel like there was anything at South Carolina that we lacked to be a championship program, that we had everything that we needed. I am even more convinced of that now after being there for 7 months.
There's a report in the Houston Chronicle that Texas and Oklahoma are inquiring about joining the SEC.
I bet they would.
War Eagle. Feels good to say that.
All right. I didn't even remember that 12 years ago, but now that you say that, because I believe there was something about someone didn't have Tebowed first team all SEC. And as usual, I was accused of that. So I brought my ballot to show everyone, to show Urban.
Hey, buddy, this beer's for you, Mike, and cousin Shane. That SEC podcast loves the Pirate, and the Pirate loves that SEC podcast. Hail State.
Oh, welcome in to the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Brennan. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter, and I'm joined as always by my cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Vols on Twitter. What are you up to, you big Tennessee homer?
Hey, buddy, it's game day.
Oh, yeah. Fired up. Man, it just, it got here. You know, we agonize over how long this thing takes, but it really did sneak up on us this year, and now Tennessee's kicking off the season here this evening against Bowling Green. And if you listen to yesterday's interview with Steven Lasson, it certainly sounds like Tennessee's going to open a can here, doesn't it?
Yes, they are, man. I'm looking forward to it, Mike. If you're listening to this about 3 o'clock, I probably already cracked open a couple. A lot of folks saying, Shane, are you going to be there at Neyland? I'd love to be there, but I'm still on lockdown, Mike, because of this damn COVID. So I'm protecting everybody by staying here and drinking beer and watching it on my TV.
Well, I hate that for you, Shane, but, you know, that's the beauty of modern technology. You're going to have your huge TV. You're going to have all these games here. And not only that, you got action to bet on. And we've got our sponsor, PrizePicks, Shane. Now we're doing the fantasy gambling. And we introduced that this week. So head on over to prizepicks.com and use that promo code SEC for an initial deposit bonus of up to $100. I'm sure there's some people that got questions about what this is and how it works and all that. So I reached out to one of their odds makers, Shane, over at PrizePicks, and he's going to give us a full breakdown, Shane, on what this game is. And I'm really looking forward to this. Aren't you?
Oh, hell yeah, Mike. I mean, we got some, I hate to call them cupcakes because it's just, I love conference play, period.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're looking for a reason to stay tuned the entire game, put a little money on it, Mike. You know,
Right.
I have an old saying, man, if you don't want to watch a game, put $100 on it, and I'm telling you, it will change your attitude. You'll be there in the fourth quarter like, come on, get in there. Rooting on for the backup. So, yeah, I love gambling. That's something that we promote, but I also love college football. And any chance to make these two mingle, I'm all for it.
Yeah, so let's kick it over to our interview here with Chris, just to break down this product real quick, and then we'll get to the SEC news. All right, we're pleased now to be joined by Chris Richardson over at PrizePicks. He's one of the odds makers with our new sponsor there. We're doing fantasy football for the first time in the SEC. So, Chris, I really appreciate you joining the show.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm super excited with our PrizePicks new app, a big update, and super excited to partner up with that SEC podcast for an awesome college football season.
Yeah, and not only the app, but the website is terrific as well. I like I guess I'm old school. I'm always on the computer, so I like the layout of the website as well. But can you give us some information on your background and just how you came to be working for PrizePicks and I know this is a big push for PrizePicks to get into the college football realm, and we all know the SEC is the engine that drives college football. So and you're based out of Atlanta, so right in the heart of SEC country. So can you just give us a little your background as well as PrizePicks?
Yeah, I am a sports fanatic for life. Actually, from Minnesota originally.
I'm gonna turn this off. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, like when you're from Minnesota, you just learn to live with mediocrity, and that's kind of what the Gophers have always brought to us. But we continue to be their biggest fans regardless. So I've been an athlete and a sports fan for my entire life. College football, the professional sports. Really have gotten into soccer lately as well too. So and my journey to PrizePicks really started out more on the customer side, actually, playing the product and just loving what they did, and really saw that there was a lot of upside in making this product even better. And I think that's what we've done even over the summer, over the course of the last year, for those of you that have been part of the PrizePicks family for a while. But we really, what brought me to PrizePicks and what I think brings a lot of people there is the diversity of markets. So we are offering anything from college football down to disc golf to tennis to soccer. Obviously, we touch the big things like NFL, NBA, but anything that you can almost think of, we have a market for. So we're first market movers in a lot of those markets. So we're super excited to be able to bring college football as one of those as well, where we're going to be offering, single stat and fantasy score for almost every single game this season.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things, when I hear fantasy, I think of you got to do a draft, and then you got to have all these teams, and you're locked in with those players all year. But I love the fact that PrizePicks, it's week to week, daily fantasy. And so, for example, this Thursday, of course, the Tennessee opener, you can pick guys from that game and all the other games. And then once you make your money, you can roll into Saturday and pick a lot more. So can you give us a breakdown on the fact that, you could pick 2, 3, 4, 5 players and with PrizePicks and just kind of the method for weekend gambling for the average SEC fan?
Yeah, that is the beauty of the PrizePicks product, right? Is that not only can you pick your favorite players from Tennessee on Thursday night, but you hopefully, you want to pair them with your favorite players on Saturday. And whether you want to just have your entry completed on Thursday, you can do that, or you can just, like you said, stretch it out into the weekend, or place another entry on the weekend. But yeah, so we have. You can pick anywhere from 2 players to 5 players. And what is also awesome about our product is that you could pick 3 college football players and maybe 2 NFL players, whatever combination of markets and sports that you want to pick, you can do that. And you can do that in a couple different ways. So one of the most popular entry types that our customers make is called a 5-pick flex. So what you do is say you have a $10 entry fee. If you select 5 players correctly, you will turn that $10 into 100. So 10x your money. If you hit 4 out of the 5, you're still going to double your money. And then if you hit 3 out of 5, you're still going to get half your money back. But it gives you that chance to like double your money, but also have the upside to, 10x your money. So that's a really popular way that people like to play our product. People also like to go, if they just like their 2 favorite guys, then they'll just do like a 2-for-2 power play. That you could take a $10 entry and turn it into a $30 payout. So we have a lot of cool ways, and you can do everything in between. You can do a 3, 4, 5, and that's what we really like. We're giving our customers the opportunity to kind of choose their path, and there's a lot of great ways to do that.
Yeah, and we're running out of time before the season starts. But another great thing about PrizePicks, obviously you can make your picks individually week to week. But you guys also got season totals right now leading up to the start of the season. For example, I think I saw Kevin Harris from South Carolina. His over under is, I believe around 1,100 rushing yards, and you can do touchdowns for the season, over, under, things like that. So, you're one of the guys that sets all these odds. How big of a challenge is that in college football, and what all goes into your process for setting those weekly lines?
Yeah, the futures options that we have on the board is really exciting because it gives not only like people that are used to playing season-long fantasy, they can almost do that through our app, right? By instead of having to wait for their favorite player to pick, whether it's in the NFL or college football, they can sweat out the whole season like they would in their fantasy football league, right? But yeah, so we love the futures option. But yes, the college football, I'm one of the lines makers for the college football team. It is certainly not necessarily a easy process, but it does take a lot of like going over data and matchups. And as I told you earlier, we're one of the first movers in this market. So a lot of times you're going to see our projections up first. Hopefully in the future, you'll even see these guys projected out like on a Saturday, you'll see them Monday. But it's awesome. We use, look at, the matchups, who's favored by how much, and figure in all those factors into their projection. But what's really going to be interesting, and which is always an ever coming thing in college football, is news, right? Like Saturday morning, you're going to get so-and-so's automatically out, or even now when you look at the depth charts of some of these teams, and I've never seen this more this year, is teams are saying this guy or this guy is the starter. But I've never seen that before. Like even I think Tennessee's first depth chart, Jabari Small and I can't think of the other guy off the top of my head, but it said him is the starting running back. So we've even had that with quarterbacks. And we know sometimes teams use dual threat quarterbacks, but I've never seen so many this or this person. So at the beginning of the season, it is certainly more time consuming and difficult to set these projections with limited news, limited data, limited depth charts. So hopefully that process becomes more fluid as the season goes on.
And one thing that I've come to find out, I'm wondering if you could explain it a little bit better than I could to the listeners, is you've got to select players from different teams when you make your selections. You can't, for example, just like I tried to do, load up on Tennessee Vols exclusively on the Thursday night opener. So could you give the audience a little insight into that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So right now, we don't allow like quarterback receiver as a correlated play in an entry. But that's going to be changing really soon. We're releasing a new part of our product that will allow correlated payouts, so that even if you want to load up on some of your favorite players like that, you'll be able to do that in the same entry, and the payout will just be adjusted based on that. So we're super excited to release that because right now, say you take only 2 players, you need to take 2 from a different team. And that just falls into like the DFS rules in general, similar to like a DraftKings, that you can't just like play your whole team from Alabama or your whole team from Clemson or your whole team from, so that kind of falls into those same categories. But we're really excited to be able to offer, some correlated payouts in the very, very near future, especially with NFL coming out as well with college football at the same time. So we're super excited to be able to offer that to our customers.
Now, Chris, I got to ask you about payouts, because PrizePicks is not new, but it's maybe new to a lot of our audience. And we've had issues in the past with the sites where you got to go down to the Cayman Islands and they'll pay you in Bitcoin or Dogecoin or whatever the hell all those things are. But I know that is not the case. So can you explain the payout system there at PrizePicks?
Yeah, and we are a daily fantasy company that doesn't operate under what you would call gambling. So we are really focused on making sure that our payouts are, you're not getting a fee for it. It's super fast and easy. And our new launch of our app has also increased the speed of our withdrawals and our deposits. So we're super excited that component is going to beat most of our competitors, and that we are not charging you anything to withdraw your money. You don't have to use a cryptocurrency. You don't have to do all those loopholes. You're requesting what you want withdrawn, and that should be fairly instant. So we're super excited about hanging our hat on that part of our product as well.
Now, last thing, Chris, you shared this with me right before we hopped on the line here, but listeners of the show using that promo code SEC will get an initial deposit bonus up to $100. But PrizePicks is going a step further. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So anybody who signs up this week before games end on Saturday night and make a deposit, we will also give you a free entry to win $50 on top of your 100% deposit match up to $100. So we are super excited about this podcast and what you guys are going to do for college football this season. So we would love to add a little bit more value to any new members that are going to be signing up, while we also really value the ones who already have joined you via your podcast. So we're super excited about that. And also just be on the lookout for other promos on our site or on our app. For those of you listeners that have already been on our app, maybe you saw this weekend, we ran a promo, what we call that a free square, where we did over under Jake Paul punches, and we put it at 0.5. So it was literally a free square. Like, you could have put that with anything. And we were super excited about running some of those promotions for our customers. So we hang our hats on our promos. So we were super excited about that. So be on the lookout for more of those types of promotions in the future.
Well, Chris, I really appreciate the time you've given me and explaining the product. And I cannot wait for this season. We're doing over at our website, thatsecpodcast.com. We're having competitions to see, which of our listeners can beat us. It's probably going to be every damn one of them, to be honest with you. We're so bad at making our picks, but I really do appreciate the time and explaining the PrizePicks product a little bit better for the audience.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for having me on. And like I said, we're just so excited for this season. So let's get to Saturday as soon as possible, right?
Yes, sir. All right, Shane. So I appreciate Chris hopping on the line and, giving the listeners a full breakdown of what PrizePicks is offering there. And, man, like you said, I think this is just going to make the games that much more interesting when you put a little money on, players to do well. And I just love the fact that, I know you're a big fantasy fan, but I just don't got time to deal with my lineups and my draft and all this stuff. But that's the beauty of PrizePicks. Week to week, you can change your guys between 2 to 5 players, and you don't even have to, limit it to SEC or college football. Mm-hmm. You can go NFL or NBA or whatever sports they offer down there at PrizePicks. So it makes it a really fun game, I think.
Hell yeah, man. I'm telling you, these first few weeks, Chris was, I appreciate him coming on, but I would tell you right now, they got a tough job trying to figure out what these programs are going to do. How hard are they going to run? How much are they going to pass? Who's going to be starting like week 3? I mean, there's so many tangibles that are floating around right now when we start the season. So if you are thinking about betting a little money, right now's the time. Mm-hmm. If you've been watching, you say, hey, I know without a doubt, I'm watching these beat writers. I'm on the, these message boards. I know for sure that ABC is going to happen, then this is the time to put a little money on it. Now, if you want to get out later, that's fine. But I'm going to tell you right now, once you start winning, it's hard to take that money out, Mike.
Well, that's what hopefully we do for the listeners, win them a bunch of money. And we all know fading our picks is the way to go. So we'll see if that continues for another season. You know what?
Absolutely. Well, I hope not. I hope I turn it around this year, Mike.
And I just want to mention this real quick for the Tennessee game. I know we're going to break it down here, but PrizePicks right now, they're set the over-under, Shane, on Joe Milton passing yards at 195.5 yards. I think old Joe Milton playing in this Josh Heupel system, he's going to have that by halftime. So I'm putting all my chips on the over for Joe Milton. What do you think about that?
How do you win this fan base over? By throwing.
Yep.
By throwing a lot. So, yes, I love the over for sure on that one.
Well, Shay, this is not an exclusive Tennessee podcast as much as you want to make it that with the Vols kicking off here with Bowling Green. We've got some news all around the league. So you ready to kick it around the league?
Let's do it.
Now let's go around the league.
What is 12 personnel? I got to get up. 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers, or 1? I'm just kidding. I know what 12 personnel is. So.
Worry about playing Alabama. I can't figure out whether or not the Big Ten and Pac-12 are going to yo-yo around and play football with us or not. I mean, they're playing great. Love it. Love the game. Awesome game. It's unbelievable for our country. It's great for our universities. It's great for our towns when we play. It's great for our young men. I personally think it's the greatest game in the world. So if they elect to play, great. If they don't, that's on them. I got enough crap to worry about with preparing for Alabama and figuring stuff out at Mizzou. So
The team is in great spirits. I know there was a lot of doom and gloom. I saw and heard a lot about how the hopes of our season hinged on the results of an MRI. And frankly, that's bullcrap. We've got a hell of a football team. And whether one guy's in or out, we got 117 other guys that are ready to step up no matter who's out. We got Kevin.
All right, I'm not a big opening statement guy, and plus you guys are going to ask whatever you want to know anyway. So let's just go ahead and get started. Is there any questions?
Young man from Destrehan, Louisiana. Hold on a second. Hey, guys! Hey! I'm having a press conference, okay? Thank you. Great young man.
All right, Shay, we got to start here. This happened basically as soon as we turned off the record button last night. This was first announced. Let's give this guy credit. Brent Zerneman, Houston Chronicle. He was also the one that broke the news of Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC. But he broke the news, Shane. Jimbo getting him an extension in College Station. The $75 million man is now the $94 million man. They've given Jimbo a 4-year extension. So once again, he's under a 10-year contract, giving him a pay bump. He's now the nation's second highest paid coach behind only Nick Saban. And how this is going to break down, Shane, $9 million. And then every season after that, he's getting a $150,000 bump, as I understand it, for the rest of the 9 years on the deal. So what were your thoughts when you heard Texas A&M locked up Jimbo for an additional 4 years?
I think it's a smart move, Mike. And I know there's a lot of naysayers out there. When this thing got out, that it's 90% of the comments were just bashing Jimbo, but I think they've got a coach down there. And that's hard to do these days, Mike, to have somebody that can lead you to a one-loss season. That's exactly what Jimbo's been doing. And every year it seems like they're getting better. Everybody, there's a lot of people projecting them to win the West this year. Some of them even saying they could compete for a national championship. I think if you've got a head coach that's got you to that point, just this short amount of time in the SEC, yeah, you pay the man.
Yeah, and obviously I don't want to piss off the Aggies, so I'll turn this in a direction I think they'll like, but I do think this has a little bit to do with the fact that Texas is coming to the SEC because they got Steve Sarkisian now. They're hyping themselves up like they do every 2 to 3 years with a new coach that is out the door, a couple years later. But right now, that's what Sarkisian and company, I would imagine, are selling on the recruiting trail and whatnot. So we're coming to the SEC. We're going to be the new IT program. That's what they're selling. Whereas Texas A&M, you're already at the door there, like you said, of a SEC West title. You're already at the door of a college football playoff berth. Texas A&M, of course, was the last team to get cut, and we all agree that they should have been in over Notre Dame anyway. But so what this does in my mind is, yeah, that's nice. Sarkisian, he can sell what he's got to sell there in Austin, but in College Station, they've got tangible, real results they can sell. They are already rolling. I mean, it's like a boulder coming down the damn mountaintop there in College Station. And all this does, I think, is just speeds that up. And, anything that Texas is able to sell, I think A&M is able to sell that and so much more by sitting here saying, hey, we've got a commitment to our coach. Sarkisian's not going to last for 10 years. I don't know what his deal is, but we just extended our guy to go 10 years. He's under contract now, Shane, till 2031. So, I think in part it's that, but of course it's mostly just the success Jimbo's had there in College Station, the success they've had on the recruiting trail. They've just named Hayes King starting quarterback. There's so many good things to like about him. And then they've got, if you've seen it, the guy that was buzzing this time last week, Connor Wiseman, I think is his name. They've got a 5-star quarterback committed, Shane, who looks like the next Johnny Manziel. So I think they're just making everybody aware that the Aggies are here to stay. And if you think that was just a one-year blip, they're here to tell you they're going to try to make it a decade of dominance.
Absolutely, Mike. I mean, stability sells. And if you think it doesn't, look down there in Tuscaloosa and tell me. Look up there in Lexington and tell me that stability doesn't sell, or that program. Yeah, Kentucky may not be at the door of a national championship, but if you look at where they were when they started and to where they're at now because of Coach Stoops, it's because of stability. So I don't know. I like the dream. I like the message that they're putting out. The product. I mean, yeah, maybe we haven't got to the college football playoff yet. Maybe we haven't competed for an SEC championship, but we put a lot of people in the NFL, and you look here at this NIL, this is a big deal, Mike, especially for a program like Texas A&M. Right. They're ready to spend some money. This is showing you, hey, I'm willing to pay my coach, and I'm willing to make him the 10th highest paid man on this roster. If you come out here, we will sell the image. You know what I'm saying? So, Texas A&M's got some money, and this is just another thing, another tool that Jimbo can use when he's trying to sell himself and sell the program in the living rooms to all these kids.
Yeah, and of course, this kind of goes without saying, but just look at Florida State without Jimbo. I mean, hell, they're already on another coach, and he's struggling to get that thing off the ground. So I don't see any drawbacks to this aside from people getting jealous, basically. You know what?
I love it, man. I wish I was giving my coach a 9-year extension because that means things are going good. I hate seeing the fourth coach in 10 years. So I'm ready for a little stability in my life, Mike. So don't be hating. I think this is a big move, a power move for Texas A&M. And like I said, it's a commitment to what they're building down there. And I just think that speaks volumes when you're trying to get some of these recruits to come down.
All right, Shane, next let's kick it on down to Baton Rouge, where, well, technically it's not Baton Rouge, it's Houston, because LSU had to shift gears because of the hurricane. They are currently in Houston. Coach O has not had any of his media availabilities this week because of that, but he was on the coaches teleconference on Wednesday, and I was on the call, and Coach O, he made an interesting observation here, Shane. He said it's, the way they've been structuring it, they've been treating it like a bowl trip, like, because obviously you're away from home and you still got to do practices and all that. And that really struck to me because if you look at his track record, he's 4-1 there at LSU during his bowl weeks. So that obviously includes, the wins in the college football playoff. They dominated that thing, but it's not, and as soon as I say that, everybody will say, well, hell, that was just Joe Burrow, Joe Brady, and all that. But another one they beat was Lamar Jackson after he won the Heisman Trophy. So Coach O and his program, they have got a sense for what it's like to go on the road and win these bowl games. And, maybe you don't want to read too much into all that. But, hell, he's also had success in season opening games when a couple years ago they had to face Miami. And I remember that was a game where, it was kind of a toss-up 50-50 type affair, and they dominated Miami. So I'm liking the vibes I'm hearing from Coach O heading into this opener on the road at LSU.
Yeah, man. It kind of limits distractions when you're out there because you don't know what to get into. You're at the campus. It's easy to go to your favorite hangouts and get in trouble or stay up later than you should. And you're not going to do that when you're on the road. So I just like the message that Coach O's putting out.
Yeah, and one other note that he had, kind of a mix of good and bad news here on the injury front. We'll start with the good. We like to stay with the positive here, Shane. But Derek Stingley and Eli Ricks, they're two outstanding corners. Coach O says they're full go. They've been practicing, so they're going to participate in the UCLA game. And that is as expected, but they've been limited in camp, so I just wanted to make that note. But one unfortunate bit of news here. The freshman receiver Malik Neighbors, who had been getting so much buzz and potentially would have started for this UCLA game. Coach O didn't reveal the extent of his injury, but noted he will be out for the opener against UCLA, and he's going to likely miss a couple of weeks of action. So hopefully they get him back by Mississippi State when they go to SEC play.
Yeah, man, that sucks.
All right, Shane, next let's kick it down real quick to Athens, where Kirby Smart, they've got this epic showdown here with Clemson. Everybody's going to be watching that game Saturday night. Cannot wait. Nationally televised affair. So much expectations compounded with the Georgia Bulldogs this year. And Kirby Smart was asked this offseason, I believe it was on Marty McGee. I don't remember. I didn't actually hear these quotes, to be honest with you, Shane. But he said that he believes Georgia is going to win the national championship eventually. And he was asked about that here on Wednesday. Here's what Kirby had to say.
Yeah, staying on kind of the DB's theme here, Coach, just looking at their wide receiver core. I mean, everybody talks about Justin Ross, but one thing that kind of pops out, you see a lot of 6'3", 205, 6'4", 6'5", 6'3". Anything specifically difficult about defending guys that size? And have you been I can't think of anybody you guys have gone up recently that were so big across the board, right? Not just one or two guys, but everybody seems to be in that demographic.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the right adjective, but that is definitely a strong group. They are big. They are physical. They do a very good job going up and getting the ball. They're really good 50-50 ball guys. We've seen a lot of them on tape. Justin obviously has been a great player for them for a long time, and now he's coming back. So I know they're excited to get him back. They are a matchup problem, but in some ways we're bigger at corner than we've ever been too. So we've got three guys that are 200 pounds rotating through there. We've had really fast and we've had really long guys, but uniquely the three or four guys we're playing now are all 200 pounders. Now their guys are 210, 220. So the thing that concerns you is 50-50 balls, blocking on the perimeter. That's critical. To be able to block on the perimeter. And if you don't go against guys that size, we put our guys up against tight ends to try to simulate what we think they'll see in a game because of the size of those guys. But getting on and off blocks is critical to every football game, but it's really critical to this game because we know the spread element, the perimeter screens, the ball out quick. You got to be able to tackle and you got to be able to get off blocks. And those big guys make that hard to do.
Kirby, you were asked by Marty and McGee on their TV show about what it would be like to win a national title at Georgia. You said it would be special and it's coming. It's a matter of time for our players. I know others, see it the same way, and obviously you nearly won it in 2017. Why do you feel it's coming?
Well, it has to be coming, right, Mark? If it's not coming, then what are we doing? So I don't look at it in perspective of when. I look at it in perspective of what's important now. What are we doing now? And I know the people in this organization. I know the administration. I know the people in the state. I know the people that love Georgia and the energy, enthusiasm they have. It's always long overdue, right? I don't care if you won one 3 years ago. It's overdue. Yeah. So for me, that's the end game. That's the goal. That's what you're always trying to work towards. It doesn't make it a successful season or failure if you don't. I just don't look at things that way. I don't let that control my thought process in my life. But I certainly pursue excellence, and that's what excellence is.
All right, Shane. So I just thought this was interesting because, we've been hearing for the last week or so about, this Clemson game's not the end all be all for us, and I'm hearing a lot of negativity this week.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but I guess maybe Georgia fans or media or whatever, they're just a little nervous about this matchup. But hell, I ain't nervous. I'm sticking with my Georgia pick. And I just thought it was great that Kirby's sitting here talking about winning the national championship during his time, because I know everybody wants to win this Clemson game, and they should, but what everybody down there in Athens really wants is that elusive national championship, and it's great to hear their coach is not backing away from those expectations. You know what?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I get that, but let me ask you, Mike, if they don't compete for a national championship this year, is it a failure? Do you think so? I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, because that's a lot of pressure, Mike. I mean, that's calling for a perfect season. You know, I not necessarily winning the SEC. Here's the thing: you can't lose the SEC championship and Clemson, but I can think that you could get in there with one loss if you're the Georgia Bulldogs. So that being said, if they fall and they do not make it into the playoffs, wouldn't you consider that a failure? I think this is their year.
Well, I think as we sit here, it's easy to say that, and I would agree with you, but there's just so many variables, you know, like what if Hayes King down there in Texas A&M, what if he's, you know, I don't want to put all this pressure on all these players, but what if he's the next Johnny Manziel? What if Max Johnson for LSU is the next Joe Burrow? What if Bryce Young is, just as good as, say, Tua? There's so many variables. If we knew those answers, then I don't think you could say Georgia has to win it all this year. But I'm staying firm with my pick with the Bulldogs in the East and to win the SEC. So I totally understand that question. And, yeah, I mean, on paper, there's no one that's more talented than the Georgia Bulldogs, and they have the easier path to Atlanta being in the East. I know this this opener is a difficult game, but hell, maybe if there are weaknesses on the roster, they learn about it week one. That'll be an advantage of playing someone as good as Clemson, to where you have the rest of the season to work on any deficiencies you have. So, yeah, I mean, that should be the expectation. It should be. I know it's such a weird dynamic because they've not won the national championship in so long, but they have all the pieces to win a national championship, and that needs to be the annual goal down there in Georgia. And coming up short, man, I did a 180 here. Yes, it's a disappointment if they need to be there. Particularly if they lose multiple games, I think it'll be a total failure given this roster they have.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you, but I think they got to have this game. I think this creates the storyline. This creates that narrative that Kirby's trying to sell here, that they are national contenders. Mm-hmm. You don't worry about teams like Clemson. You just don't. Now Vegas, they got Clemson favored right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so that they have no faith in the Georgia Bulldogs, but I'm telling you, man, I'm looking at this roster and I don't see holes. I see problem areas, but I can see that being corrected easily by the coaching and the talent that they got around them. So I don't know. I think there's way more question marks coming with Clemson than there is with Georgia. And I think on a national stage, first game of the season, there's no reason that they can't create the tone for the SEC and just show the whole country how dominant this conference is.
All right, Shane, last update. Let's kick it on down to Fayetteville real quick. We're saying Pittman met with the media here on Wednesday to preview, of course, the season opener here at Rice, and he got a really interesting response from our coach here, who's very open and transparent. You know, I think you can count on Sam Pittman. And when he gives you an answer, it's the truth. And I'm not holding that against all the coaches in the SEC, but I could certainly say that's not the case with a lot of these guys. You know what? So he was asked about the biggest surprise of camp, and I thought this was really interesting and really encouraging news for the Razorbacks.
About the team in general that you can pinpoint to, it's been the biggest of camp and of the preseason for you.
To save you at times, and your opinion can deceive you if you don't have facts that back it up. And I was concerned about Malik Hornsby's accuracy. And I'm not for sure if every one of you guys on this that have seen our practice are going, where's his accuracy going to be? And I was concerned at some point about Juan's accuracy, KJ's accuracy as well. But then every night I watch tape, I watch every bit of everything, walk through everything, take a note about it. The coaches hate it whenever I come down with a bunch of notes. But as I'm doing that, the accuracy of Malik and the accuracy of KJ were quite higher throwing the football than what I believed. And so that would be probably the biggest surprise. I had an opinion about it. And then as I'm tallying up targets, it was much, much higher than what I thought it was.
Hey, Coach, I'm curious what you see from KJ personality-wise behind the scenes. His teammates this preseason have said he's really funny in the locker room, but he can flip a switch and be really businesslike when he needs to be.
I mean, I think maybe I'm like that a little bit too, but KJ is showing better leadership skills and all those things will come around. It's hard to be a leader when you've never started a game. I mean, it really is. And we're pushing him towards that and all those things. And he's become better. I think he'll get better and better as the year goes once he gets a little bit more confidence.
All right, Shane. So KJ Jefferson and the backup Malik Hornsby, that's been one thing that, big question mark for a lot of people, not for me specifically, but, hell, I just saw someone over at 24/7 Sports rated KJ Jefferson as the SEC's worst quarterback. I don't know what kind of drugs that guy was drinking, but, if you are concerned about KJ Jefferson, I think these comments from Sam Pittman will kind of turn you around pretty quick.
Yeah, when your head coach is coming out, that's one thing. You always want to temper expectations. And if I got a quarterback that's really struggling, I'm not going to come out and say, you know what, I love how accurate he is, because that's headliners that those guys are going to use the next week if KJ throws 3 picks. So,
right.
I like this. I like this story.
And last thing, Shane, real quick, just a weird update here. But, of course, Missouri is hosting Central Michigan, and Jim McElwain, former Florida coach, apparently he had some kind of appendicitis, emergency surgery for Jim McElwain. So Tim Skipper, whoever that is now their interim coach, and there's no word on whether McElwain will be there for Central Michigan this Saturday. But just a little, little bit of news there that favors Missouri.
Did Jim get another death threat? He didn't want another SEC loss, did he?
All right, Shay, the moment you've been waiting for in all of Vol Nation. Were you ready to make a pick for Tennessee Bowling Green?
Let's do it, baby.
A century. A lot can happen in 100 years. Thousands of moments, millions of fans. This stadium has transformed from an empty field to a feared cathedral. It's where past and present converge.
Here come the Volunteers.
It's where moments are turned into memories.
Everything is riding on this football game. He's dropped to the sack by Reggie White. Touchdown, Big Island in the down 4.
At the 5, Holloway dive.
They're going to give it to Rivera. First to the 10, to the 5, to the checkerboards. Touchdown, Tennessee. A very, very special time as across the way, the Volunteers come racing onto the field. What time is it? You know, as Tennessee comes barreling out onto the green sward in football time in Tennessee.
Now, a new century of opportunity is here, and it all begins now.
Here we go, man. Let's go. Gotta win today. Let's go. Sun's out in Knoxville. Woo-hoo-hoo. It's a big boy kind of day today. Right? There's a standard in anything and everything that we're doing. Meet the standard. Everybody got me? We in it to win it. Ain't that right? Huh? We have to learn how to have a winning mentality. It's freaking winning time. Nothing else matters.
All All right, Shane, the Tennessee Vols favored by 35.5 points. Whoa, what a barn burner we got here. Over under 60.5. Who do you like in this matchup? Do I even have to ask that question?
No, you don't, baby. You don't have to ask at all. But I will say that's a lot of points, Mike. That is a lot of points. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think we lose this game at all. I think this is I think it's a barn burner. I think easy now. You remember, I mean, I've been hurt. We've been hurt. The Tennessee fans have been hurt, Mike. This isn't Georgia State here. But I'm just thinking there's a lot of moving pieces coming out here. We know exactly what Heupel's going to do, and he's going to want to air it out, and he's going to want to get these young kids involved. But I think it's going to be a little bit more conservative than people are thinking. 35 points, that's a lot of points, man. So I like the Volunteers to win the game, but I don't like them to cover the spread. I think this is a kind of a backdoor thing. Maybe third, fourth quarter, it slows down a little bit. I don't think it ever is a ball game, but it's just too many for me, Mike. So we're talking about the Tennessee Volunteers here. So give me the victory and give me the under. And by the way, man, Bowling Green must have the ugliest uniforms I've ever seen in my life. You know, I'm not saying anybody should lose their job, but whoever came up with that color scheme should have been fired years ago. So Bowling Green, ain't that something? I look at I've wanted to pick them before in NCAA, and I was looking at the alternate jerseys. And I was like, I can't do anything with this. So moving on, it's like Oregon State bad, you know.
Can we get a score prediction from you? I know you said Vols in the under.
Oh yeah. I'm going to go Tennessee 42, and I'm going to go Bowling Green 21.
Ooh, so I certainly sense some of that. Previous pain that the Vols have caused you with that pick, Shane. And I cannot agree, my friend. I mean, I think Thursday night, we already know they're putting in the LED lights. I mean, they're going to try to showcase this Josh Heupel system to its full extent. They got this Joe Milton. I think the main reason he's the quarterback is because he can throw that deep ball better than anybody on the roster. So I think they're going to try to score a damn touchdown every single time they're out there. Only SEC game on that night. It's nationally televised. There's going to be so many eyes on this game. Give me the damn Vols, Shane, and give them to me big. I'm going Tennessee 55, Bowling Green 14. Vols cover, over covers. Vols win big.
I hope, Mike. I hope it's just a barn burner, ass whooping. I hope it's all those things. It's the Tennessee fan base deserves it, Mike. You know, they've been through a lot. They've not seen offense. I mean, we have no guarantee. We don't have to worry about number 2 trotting out there and throwing it to the other team. We don't have that anymore, Mike. So I'm hoping the Miltons. I'll tell you, the fan base is already behind them. I've seen more memes. I've seen more things with Joe in it than any of the quarterbacks we've had in years past. It's Pittman, you know. I mean, they're bought in. So let's. I'm hoping that he is the guy, and I'm pumped up for tonight, man, because it's been a long time, brother, since we. And I wish I could get out there. That was the thing. I had intentions to get out there, and unfortunately, I'm not able to. So I'm going to sit here at the house. Hopefully, we'll have a good emergency podcast after the game. And we'll talk about the first SEC game of the 2021 season.
Well, you enjoy it.
2021?
2021, yes, sir. That's what year it is. But
well, you know, I didn't know. You know, it's kind of weird. Like when you graduate, it's like a year after or something. So is this 2021 season or 2022?
2021.
All right. I like it.
All right, buddy. Well,
National
you enjoy
champs, Tennessee Vols.
Enjoy the rest of that beer that it sounds like you've had one too many. And I hope everyone really enjoys the game here on Thursday. And we'll be back, like Shane said, to make all our picks for the weekend action. So many great games. I cannot wait. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Shane. Catch you on the next one.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols.
All right. Well, hey, Shane, enough about, our sponsors. And all. Man, I don't then. That sounds bad. All right, Shane. But hey, we've got some news to kick it around the league. So you ready to kick it? Man, what the fuck? All right, Shane. Well, we'll get to that.
How many you drank over there, Mike?